folks, here we are. We're finishing out another semester and it's time for our 6th biannual Project Cities Showcase, or as I'm calling it this time, Showcase Quarantine Edition. We've been locked up in our homes for about 17 or so weeks now. We've run out of toilet paper. We're now best friends with our mail person, and some of us have mastered the art of cutting our own hair, while some of us haven't. At this point, we've either run out of spring cleaning tasks to do or out of TV shows in our Netflix queues. And let's be honest, about 50% of us today are rocking the full body mullet, which, if you're not familiar, is all business on top and sweatpants on the bottom. But in all seriousness, it has been one very challenging semester, and I don't have to remind anybody about the hard right turns that we've had to make over the last few weeks. Suffice to say, it is a genuinely scary and dangerous time, and yet despite all these challenges and more, here we are. So thank you, and congratulations in advance to all of the students on the great work that we're going to see from you here today. And folks, do remember that we're on a Zoom call, so at some point, somebody's dog or child will run into the room and need attention. Someone will have a loud leaf blower going in the background while they're trying to explain a complex idea, and someone at some point will freeze and hold us in suspense at the worst possible moment while they're presenting. It is what it is, right? So let's approach today with a little humility, a good sense of humor, and I think that we'll be fine. And we have an excellent team of moderators on hand to help make sure things run as smoothly as possible. Now, before I hand it off to our fearless leader, Anne, I want to make just a few quick acknowledgements. I'd like to first recognize Jay Davies, the city manager's chief of staff with the city of Peoria, and Tracy Laminka, the town manager of the town of Clarkdale. These two have served as our community liaisons, our main points of contact with the communities, helping us to navigate the ins and outs of the communities that we work with. A big thank you to them both, as we really couldn't do this work without them and their incredible leadership. And to our incredible project leads who have worked directly with the students all semester, sharing expertise and helping them to be successful. With that, I thank Ruth Mayday, Kathy Colbath, Kevin Burke, Jen Stein, Kate Powers, Daniel Keel, and Victoria Castor. Thank you all so much. And we have an incredible faculty team this semester. I'd like to recognize, and I'll introduce these folks again when it's presentation time, but I'd like to recognize Megan Ellens, Kim Canuho, and David King from the School of Geographic Sciences and Urban Planning, Maya Nadeson from the New College, Joshua Lohman from the ASU EPICS program in the Fulton Schools of Engineering, and Larry Olson with the Environmental Resource Management program at the Polytechnic School, also with Ira A. Fulton, and of course, Candace Carr-Kelman with the School of Sustainability. And last but not least, let's give a hand to our students. And at this moment, I'd like to introduce you. If you click the panelist button on the bottom, there are some nonverbal cues. Let's give a round of applause to those students today. Thank you. And with that, I would like to hand it over to the director of our program, Anne Richmond, to say just a few words about how the Project Cities program kind of came to be and how it helps to fit the goal of the Sustainable Cities Network. So with that, let's give it up for Anne Richmond. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Steve, and welcome everyone to our first virtual spring 2020 end of semester student showcase. I would like to acknowledge and congratulate Steve on the heavy lift for transitioning this huge event, which normally would be completely in person, to a virtual format. And all the people that are behind the scenes from the Institute that are helping support it. So here's my little congratulatory thank you for their hard work. This has been an interesting program to kick off in 2017, and it's been an exciting journey, so to speak, and kind of a lot of unknowns. So this goes kind of well within the scope of Project Cities, is doing a virtual showcase student presentation event as well. So thank you so much. As mentioned, this Project Cities is a premier program within the Sustainable Cities Network, which is going on its 11th year as a program within the Julianne Wrigley Global Institute of Sustainability and affiliated with the Global Futures Laboratory within Arizona State University. And so we're very excited to be finishing up our third program cycle with some of our amazing city and town partners, which include the city of Peoria and the town of Clarkdale. Thank you so much for your confidence in our Arizona State University faculty and students and staff. We can't thank you enough, but also we greatly appreciate your partnership, and it's our opportunity to give back to the community and kind of showcase the wonderful work that our students and future public and private employees can provide cities as far as adding additional capacity to their local efforts, and of course to further sustainability. One thing I'd like to share is that over the course of the 3 years, we started with the city of Apache Junction as our inaugural city partner, and then the second program year we worked with the city of Glendale. We have worked with over 550 students in across the ASU campus with 36 class project matches. That's include 21 unique projects. We've involved 29 faculty and worked with over 15 different ASU departments and schools. So this is truly an interdisciplinary effort in trying to enhance and promote sustainability and incorporate it throughout all disciplines provided at the Arizona State University. So with Sustainable Cities Network, we certainly partner with all of our local Arizona-based communities, and of which we have 30 plus in the local region. We have a variety of work groups that focus on everything from renewable energy to green infrastructure. And so if you are new to the Sustainable Cities Network program, please consider getting involved with us if you are a city partner, or if you are a student and faculty keeping track of our discussions, because you are always welcome to participate. With the Project Cities program, we are part of a national and international network of universities that are trying to enhance how classes are taught. So it's really about adding in the real world opportunity and experience for students, so they can really test those theories and be able to learn from those experiences and then apply them when they get out into the real world. And that particular network is called the EPIC Network. So we are one of almost 40 universities within the United States and internationally that are trying to basically enhance the real world learning experience for students. And so it's an exciting part to be part of that international effort. Let's see. I just want to wrap up. I realize that, you know, it's been a very interesting journey this semester with the transition to an online learning format. So I first want to congratulate the faculty and students in making that transition, for persevering, because it has been a challenge in a lot of different respects. But I think today is our opportunity to see the light at the end of the tunnel and to give yourselves a pat on the back to say you've made it through and you've accomplished so much in the face of adversity. So I do want to congratulate everyone in advance of their presentations and thank you for your extra time and effort to make all of these unusual adjustments. And thank you for participating with Project Cities, because we could not do it without our very talented local city staff, our faculty expertise, and of course, our wonderful student body. So with that, I will transition over to introducing Eric Strunk, who is with the City of Peoria, Assistant City Manager. Eric, I can see you on my screen, and I want to welcome you to our virtual Project Cities end of semester student showcase. I know you'll be sharing some words on behalf of the city of Peoria, so I will hand it over to you now.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Steve. And thank you, most importantly, to the students and the faculty who have worked so hard over the last few months, and really beginning last fall from a Peoria perspective. Can't thank you enough for the efforts that you put into each of the projects. I think it was in January where we had a quick opportunity to host a gathering of this group that we're going to be working in Peoria, and felt really good about the hosting, the conversation, the presentation, the conversations, and so on. And it's hard to believe we've made so much progress over the last few months despite everything that's going on. So I do absolutely want to tip the hat to your program, to the students, and again to the faculty for persevering under some a different set of parameters. I mean, let's be honest, we're so used to going out and just doing what we normally do in these situations, and there's been some different protocols. I can't thank you enough on behalf of the city for that perseverance. More so, I just wanted to remind everyone that the benefit for us in working with your group and working with the faculty and students is that you see things with fresh eyes and you ask questions that we may have asked years ago, but need to constantly reinvigorate from the standpoint of looking at it from a different perspective. And I think you've done that. I've heard great things from Jay, from the other city staffers that you've been working with here in Peoria. So really looking forward to what you have, and it's going to be a pleasure to hear of this. Lastly, again, this isn't orchestrated by staff solely. As you probably know, we have a city council, and we are very fortunate to have a city council that supports the efforts of ASU, the faculty and the students, through the introspection, through the look at these projects. And it's going to be a pleasure to brief them at the right time as to what you're seeing and what that really means for the future of Peoria and the areas that you visited. So again, thank you so much. That's really what I wanted to do. I'm really more curious about listening to some of the products you've come up with, some of the recommendations, and couldn't be happier that it's the end of the semester for you. And we get a chance to look at some of our projects with fresh eyes. So thank you again, both Ann and Steve, and for all the students that participated, and certainly all the faculty. There's just been a lot of work that you put into this, and truly appreciated from our standpoint.
Great, thank you so much, Eric. We really appreciate your partnership and of course, Peoria's leadership with Project Cities. So with that, we will transition over introducing Tracy Lavinka, who is the town manager for the town of Clarkdale. Tracy, welcome. I know Ruth Mayday is also with you, and so we want to thank you for your town's partnership. This is, Clarkdale's been an excellent partner for our initial small communities partnership this year. So what a grand way to kick it off. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, virtual or not. I have the pleasure of having quite a few of our stakeholders on, so that makes me extremely proud. In Clarkdale, we may be small in size, but we are mighty in stature. So, and that shows because we have quite a bit of our population that has logged on this morning, which I appreciate. I also have the pleasure of having what I saw were two council members, Debbie Hensetter and Bill Regner, are also joining us, which is a pleasure because this has been an initiative for our council before I actually took my position with the town. And being that we're the first planned community in Arizona, while that's an honorable distinction, it also comes with its own trials and tribulations about what you do with a community that was planned so long ago. And we had the wonderful fortune of working with some fabulous students through the Sustainable Cities projects, and they really embraced our small community. They came out and had several conversations, not only with our staff, but they were phenomenal at getting our stakeholders together and providing an opportunity to get input and feedback. And that's what Clarkdale is all about. So we appreciate the fact that not only do they see the importance of this project, but they were also willing to meet us at our need, and that is making sure that our community had a say in some of these things. We were overly impressed with the students. They come to us with not only having that real academic knowledge, but several of them are getting those life experiences. And as we all know, when you're working with towns and cities, what may work in the books doesn't always work on paper, in the real community. So they really took that to knowledge. This would not be something that we as a town and our staff could do alone without the assistance. So we have really gained lots of input, lots of brainstorming opportunities, lots of feedback that as just staff members, we may not have been able to really develop some of these processes, only due to time restraint. With a small staff, you can only do so much. And they really kind of elevated our stature when it comes to getting some projects and some research done. So we appreciate them for that. And to all the students, congratulations. I know this was a long time coming and you worked hard for it, and that we are in some really trying times right now. Nothing is working like we thought it would, but you have continued to get us what we needed. You've continued to give us our deliverables, and I can't say thank you enough to them, and to our city staff who worked with all the students. Our motto is, we're not successful unless the students are successful, and all of our staff took that to heart and were able to work with them, enjoyed every moment. So I can speak on behalf of myself, my staff, my council, and the public. We really appreciate what this thing has done, what this project has done for us, and we look forward to opportunities with the students in the future as well.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I think we just came up with a new motto that we can offer up to all our city partners that they can you know, hook on to. So thank you so much for your support. And it is really important, I think, for our students to be able to see the contrast between working with a larger community and working with a smaller community. So there's no one size fits all for sustainability. So you really have to educate yourself on the spectrum of options and meeting cities and towns where they're at. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure working with you and your staff. I would like to transition over to introducing our Dean for the School of Sustainability, Christopher Boone. So thank you for joining us today.
Sure, I'm very happy to. And one of my goals whenever I give these introductory remarks are to make Steve and Ann blush. So I'm going to see if I can do that virtually. It might be a little more challenging. The reason I say that is because when I'm asked to describe a project on campus that I'm most proud of, it's always Project Cities. And for a number of reasons. One, I think it has so many win-wins between what we try to accomplish here at the university, and our primary mission is to prepare future leaders and educate students. And then, of course, related to our charter is making sure that we're embedded in the communities that we serve. And I can't think of an initiative that more strongly resonates with those ideas than Project Cities. Is it working? I don't know. I see a slight tone of red in Ann's cheek, so that's
thank you.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Just a couple of reasons why I use this as an example to talk about impact, which in the end is why we're here. We're trying to have impact in a number of different ways. One, Project Cities is a remarkable real world and authentic learning opportunity for our students. And Tracy, you just spoke about that. And that's really important, not just in sustainability, but across every discipline, because we certainly want to provide students with the theoretical knowledge that we think is a foundation and necessary for understanding the complexity of the world. But when you actually try to apply those theories, concepts, and ideas in real world circumstances, then I think it really starts to challenge our ability to take action and to have a positive impact on what we're trying to achieve. So we know, all of us know through life experience and otherwise, that we might be trying things out with the very best of intentions, but until we actually try to implement them, we might be, in some cases, actually making things worse. So how can you use the opportunity of that trial and error, working in the complexity of the real world, to test out those ideas and make sure that those ideas do translate into the ultimate positive outcomes that we want? The other reason why I think this project works so well is towns and cities are doers and they're actors, right? So when you're looking for activity, if you're looking to partner with an organization that actually gets things done, cities and towns do it. States and federal governments often lag behind. It's a slow bureaucratic process, but cities and towns are there to serve their citizens on the front line. So one of the remarkable things that we've seen through the history of Project Cities is that the recommendations that come out of the semester's work, many of them get implemented within a year or in 2 years. I think you'd be hard pressed to see where you'd find such quick implementation, I think, at state and federal levels. The third thing that's been really remarkable about this Project Cities initiative is that for many students, it's their first opportunity to really interact with town and city government. And many of them even had not considered local government as a career pathway. And we know that many of our students do end up taking on positions in city and local government. So that's really wonderful to see as well, because again, if we're talking about organizations that get things done, we want to make sure that we're providing our cities and towns with the very best of talent, with fresh and bright ideas. So it's just a win-win all around, and it's been something that we're incredibly proud of. I'm very thankful to Stephen and to Anne, and of course to our city and town partners, but also to the faculty and students who get out there, bring that energy, that enthusiasm, that blue sky thinking to really help us move forward in a positive direction. So in the end, all I want to say is congratulations to everyone for another remarkable year. Everyone's spoken about the adversity. That's true. But, you know, I knew even when this was starting to happen that the remarkable resilience, courage, and creativity of our students, our faculty, our partners meant that we were going to get through this. And I think, like many things, that we're going to come out even stronger. So congratulations to all.
Thanks so much, Chris. And I echo your statement about resilience, because I think when it comes to cities and towns, they just push on through. They realize they can't stop. And so, yeah, we want to help continue that effort of persevering, growing, and changing and adapting. So thank you so much for your support.